Because God cannot cohabit. God does not cohabit. Holiness cannot cohabit. We have been praying this whole weekend for transformation of characters, for reframing of the mind. We have been asking for the Lord to answer our prayers. And I was going to talk about one of the reasons why our prayers are not answered is because we harbor bitterness. And if we cannot forgive, Pastor Papu touched on it, and I think Mam Lulu did also a bit. All the preachers actually did. And my sister here just was on about it. She was going further and further. And I think God is saying something to someone sitting here. So I will do the lesson that I did yesterday, that no one is coming, get up, because no one is coming. Before I get off stage, I would like to give these two books away. I believe we have a widow, the most recent widow in here. This book is not about widowhood, by the way. If I may see, just by show of hands, those who managed to get a copy and have read it from last, thank you. Is it a book about widows? If you can, it's not about, it's a family life book. But I would like in this instance to give you understand why I'm giving it to a widow today. I want to give it away to a widow. Do we have a widow who was widowed this year? No, I'm asking. Do we have a widow do we have someone who lost their husband between January 1 and January 31 today? We don't. Okay, December. Do we have a December widow? Do we have November? Oh, August? Okay, July is our latest widow, right? In the house, right? This book, who is yours? Where are you, my sister? Just raise your hand. Let me see. Yes, I'll give you this book. I'll sign it for you and give it to you. And then do we have the latest married couple? The youngest, the latest or the youngest? When was it? Last year. Last year, so it has 12 months. Last year when? June. Hey, you see, life, one gets married in June, the other in July. The day I buried my husband, someone was getting married and a close relative. That's life. Who can challenge the June wedding? Anyone? That's her book. So I'll give you these books once I'm done here. I won't take much of your time, Pastor Pap. We are going to have the rest of the time. You must have a lot. Since you campaigned, I heard you campaigning in the morning. But just because of my sister, I'm going to anchor my lesson. Mainly when Mom Zodo, where is she? When she said, make it short and sweet, I said, I don't know how to do short and sweet testimonies. Let me just not take the chance, because I'm a living testimony. I'm a rolling testimony. And if I tell you the things that happened between January 1 and today, it's unbelievable. But I'll try, because of yesterday's lesson, we were talking about getting up from where life has left you. Life is filled with swift transitions. This is part of my book. And when life happens, at times you are left wondering whether you want to live or you also want to exit life. And that was one such time for me when I lost my husband. So I was sharing my testimonies. I'm not going to share that, but the lessons that we learned yesterday were so many. But I wanted to say, to speak to the married community, that getting married is signing up for widowhood. And most of our lessons for life, we need to take them from those who have gone ahead of us in that journey. Anyone who has gone through anything, I'm summarizing again, it becomes your ministry. God will never, there is no pain without a purpose. God will never allow you to go through anything that cannot be used as ministry. That is training ground God does not give big wars to small soldiers. So the type of soldier that you are attracts the kind of war that comes your way. And God never uses the tools of the devil, by the way. God does not kill people. God does not cause us pain. He actually protects us from pain. Even when death happens, God cannot allow his soul to suffer in a human being. But he allows death as relief. So once we know that, we can face life better, knowing that whatever happens to us, it's God's business. We might not understand everything that happens to us, but God has a way out for whatever you go through. Like I said, my ministry was born out of the loss of my husband. 13 years ago, it will be 13 years, 22 April. When I lost my husband, I didn't even know who I was, where I was going. I had left formal employment 1997. That's when I left formal employment. I have witnesses in the house, by the way. So I was that kind of a woman. I'm repeating this testimony just for the sake of those who were not there last year as I go into conclude, so that I give the mic to Pastor Papu. But when I lost my husband, I was no longer formally employed. I was that woman who was spoiled, who was so organized, because my husband said, the money that you are getting is too little. I'd rather you spend that time with your children. So the morning was mine, the afternoon, the morning was mine, the afternoon was for my children, and the evening is for my husband. Family life, I'm sure you are hearing. So that was me. So I would do morning, I did me, and I loved my life. I was well looked after. We had plans. So yesterday when we were demonstrating how life deals with you, we used a balloon, because a balloon represents hope, dreams, and something popped my balloon and everything around me changed. Everything, even my breathing changed, my sleeping patterns changed, everything, even the people that I loved left me. Some even left me because my balloon had popped. But I want to tell you, God had other plans, and I didn't know his plans, but God had been where I had not been. And he started, revealing that plan. Not immediately. I will not lie to you that I don't know who used the example of a broken foot or whatever. Where do broken hearts go? But when I had that situation, I was inconsolable for a good 7 years. I didn't want to stop crying. I felt like if I stopped crying, I would have not really, I felt like grieving was, part of loving my husband. And even this thing that we tell those who are grieving that, remember, the state of the dead, don't go visit the grave. It's because you have not been there. It's very easy to tell people, hey, don't talk to... I would look at my husband, I blew a life-size portrait, put it in my house, and I would ask him, where are you? So this is what you have decided, to leave me with a grade 3. And you knew that I was angry with God, I was angry with my husband, I was angry with life, angry with everything around me. I was so angry. But God was patient with me until COVID came. And God is a gentleman. You can ask questions. I had questions. I even as a preacher then, I refused to preach for a whole year. I said, I'm mourning for my husband. And if people called me to preach, and the church also is quite insensitive. Yes, I was a preacher, but I was grieving. People expected me to be able to stand and speak to other widows. What do I tell them? God has disappointed me. He did not answer my prayer. What do you want to hear from me? Until COVID came. When COVID came, I remember... Okay, so 2013, I started journaling. So this started as a journal. And I had been journaling because I didn't know who to ask. Some people were tired with my questions. Some were afraid to come to me. Some did. People have all sorts of... So in this book, I explain what happened to me. This is not an academic book. This is a life story with the lessons that I drew from my personal experience. So COVID came and it ushered in the ministry. I was invited by Mrs. Chola to do a devotional for 31 days, August 2020. And I'm like, devotional for widows and orphans. I didn't even know what to tell them, but I did it anyway. I also was attacked by COVID. But those who were watching did not know that I was actually very sick I think mid-August, I was very sick. Those videos, those who saw the videos, Adventists and non-Adventists alike, then invited me. Can you please talk to our sisters-in-law, brothers-in-law, and I would say words of comfort that I didn't also, because it was a whole new space for me. And when I did those things, there were 8 ladies who kept, asking, questioning. They would want to grieve, want to call, and I got tired. And I said, Lord, if only you can give me 20 people to work with, that's the maximum. If this is ministry, I can only encourage about 20. Long story short, right now I have an organization called Circle of Comfort, which is legally registered in Zimbabwe, Cape Town. And there is Zambia also, Circle of Comfort. They are here. Shepherdess Achamba is the leader in Zambia. That's how, from 2013, that's how far we've grown. Colleen here is a member of my admin in Circle of Comfort. Remember, I told you that I had not been employed since 1997. But as I speak, I have an office in town. I have a PA. I have an admin. I have a marketing person. I'm just, there is no time to tell these things. I've seen the hand of mercy. I've seen God's hand of mercy move in my life. The little girl who was doing grade 3 is now in university. When my husband died, she was this height. Now she's a beautiful young lady who she does all my typing or she's not the PA, by the way. Okay, let me take you to the story of the PA. So when our, some of our testimonies border on bragging, but let me just do that. Time doesn't allow, but let me just give you a snippet of how God has done it. So, after we registered, I reached out to a friend, and then she's running a big organization. And then I said, my sister, can you mentor me? I don't think I remember how to run a formal office. And then she says, do you have the office? I said, no, I don't have the office. I don't have money yet. I'm still to look for donors to fund the organization. And then she says, Maureen, you're talking like that. You, a preacher, you are saying you don't have money. When God has money, the ministry that you are doing is not yours. Isn't it God who says, I'm a husband to widows? So why are you talking like the money is going to come from you? Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you an office, and I'm going to interview the 4 women that you are going to work with. I'm going to pay them, yourself included, from January to end of June. I'm going to be paying you. And my office is beautiful. I wanted to challenge Judge Nyawundi, when she said her office, you have to walk on a red carpet and it's that far. And I said, my sister, you are not the only one. You went to school. I didn't have to go to school. I was qualified by what I went through. And so God qualifies, that He calls. And we are doing ministry, and it's amazing. As I was, God just started gathering men and women. Should I tell you about my vision board? Let me not. You know me. Let me not go there. And then when in the middle of all that, someone invited a very high person, because we are live, I can't go there. A very high person to come and have a conversation. Actually, she was called to this person's office. And when she came, she says, you know what? I appreciate the work that you are doing. So here's how I'm going to help you. She's ambassador to that country from Zimbabwe, very high office. And then she says, you know what, I'm going to invite you to that country. I don't normally stay with people in my house because it's like we are living in the president's house. But for you, you are going to live with me for 1 week, and I'll take you around and you see what other widows and women organizations are doing. as we were, and then I was wondering, how do I even go to that country? And this other person who was in the room says, the ticket is already bought, when do you want to go? So the ticket was bought in a conversation of 30 minutes. I was invited to a president's house in another country just because I lost my husband. So me, I am traveling the world. If you see my vision board, it tells you what God can do with what you have gone through. So don't spend time having pity parties. You are 10 years behind schedule. Whatever it is that you have gone through becomes your ministry. And there is someone who is waiting for you to lift them up because no one is coming. And if you are sitting here waiting for people to, pity disempowers. My doctors, you agree with me? Pity disempowers. Empathy, yes. But when you are always looking out for people who come and lift you and raise you, no one is coming. So get up and let's go, because time is no more. So in this book, I write the things that you lose and the things that I lost. I think I listed over 20, close to 30 things that you lose. You might even lose your children. The worst thing that you might lose by losing a spouse is your salvation. The way you process. Recently, I'm a family and marriage counselor. So I receive some people who come to my counseling room for so many different things. The saddest one was last week. I'm not divulging anything, but I'm just letting you know that the person that pained me most was a person who is a person of, what do you call it? Someone who is a pastor. But she has abandoned the faith because she has pressure from the church. From the church. It's so sad. So if the church becomes pain, where do you go? But the church is not just pain in the side because they want to, but because they don't know. They don't know. Let me not go there. Thank you. May the Lord bless you and keep you. The books are available. I don't want to go back with them to Zimbabwe. I brought them for someone who needs someone. If you know someone who can benefit from the book, get in touch with me. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mangwenya. I think that there is so much that we can learn from her story of resilience and how God can use our pain. I like that last point. And if you've been here long enough, there's a thread going through this idea of us being behind schedule. And I think that, may the Lord challenge us to move. Dr. Papu, over to you.
Thank you very much. What scared me, and I'm still trying to recover from that, I think I'll have to talk to the psychologist here to help me, because I feel like I was traumatized when he says, when you sign up for marriage, you're signing up for I looked at my wife. I almost saw her saying bye-bye. And I wasn't ready for that. I was traumatized. But it's true. It's true. So when you say, Pastor, pray for me to get married, you are saying, Pastor, pray for me that one day I may be a widow. Like others. You also feel like you want to be like others. Because when our pastors are here, they'll agree with me. Somewhere in your vows, you say, till death do us part. So that's it. I know you love your husband so much, he's not going to die. All right, let me also appreciate our psychologists here, our sisters. They are in a very difficult profession, and you see what they are doing is not necessarily what is done in their profession, because they've managed to interface the theology, the scriptures with their practice. It's not always the case. If you go to someone, don't think you're going to see them. You might see someone who says, forget about prayer. So they may not be pushing in that direction. All right, so you have to be very careful also who you seek. That is why it's important before you go ask for help, talk to God, so He can direct you also. You see, when you go to a therapist, it is still God extending His healing. It's not separate. So I'm going to go to God now and then fine. Then no, it's still God operating. All right. So you have to allow God to help you. I've said to some people, you have to ask God to help you which pastor you go to. Don't just pick up a phone and go to any pastor. Pray, because you might go to a pastor and end up being a victim. I'm just talking about pastors. I don't know. We at some point recommended a pastor. I no longer recommend anyone. I recommended a pastor. I said, you can see. And then he called me and says, how this pastor now was telling me how interested he is. The one you search. You know, we felt so embarrassed. It's like we were also now sending this pastor to do that. So no more. If you say a recommended, I'm not recommending anyone. Ask God, pray to God, let him direct you to somebody who's going to help you. I'm not going that route. It has happened, these things do happen. So, beloved, just a preamble to what I'm going to say, because it's going to sound as if it's too strong in light of the therapy, the approach, the soothing approach. The Bible says, cry loud and spare not. Tell my people their transgression and the house of Jacob their sins. It's preaching. But as you are aware, because there is something called sin, beloved. There is something called sin. You can't say, no, I'm sick, I was traumatized. That's why I'm having this girlfriend and that girlfriend. There's something called sin. All right? And we're going to shout, we're going to spare not. And when God wakes you up and seeing the therapist becomes part of that deliverance. Do you see where we are? Not just anyone. It becomes part of that. So don't expect me to be a therapist here. I'm a preacher here. All right? And as I preach, you wake up and God speaks to you and you see somebody who's going to help you. Continue the process. All right? Because we are getting to a point now where we are using that which is right as an excuse. Me because, me, and whatever. No, that's not what they are saying. At some point, you take responsibility for action and take. Now, you are not blamed for being hurt. If somebody knocks you with a car, we can't condemn you. Why were you knocked by a car? Why were you raped? No, nobody condemns you. But, beloved, when the car has knocked you, call 911 or not 9. Call an ambulance. Don't say, I won't call any ambulance. I don't want anyone to help me. I want that person. Why did he do that? Beloved, healing is your responsibility. They can hurt you, but you must find help. Because if you don't, you're going to hurt somebody. And when you do hurt somebody, God will find you responsible and accountable. I have to say that. If you're not going to look for it, if you're not going to embrace healing and you go hurting others, there is no excuse. God will deal with you. Because there is something called sin. When you refuse to go for help, to go for healing, you have chosen to hurt others. So it becomes yours. It's no longer generational. It's yours now. You are responsible and accountable. But beloved, let's remember, the Bible says don't judge because you don't know the hearts of others. 2 Corinthians 5, it says, God will do that. When he comes, he will open up and then you will see the hearts and the secrets. Then you can say, oh, now I see. But for now, let's forgive. Let's not try to diagnose people and whatever. Let's forgive those who offend us and do the best we can. God knows. And one day, before we enjoy eternity, God will reveal everything. And even those who are going to be lost, they will be comfortable. Because God would have shown them that we have no excuse. Help was available. You refused it. Because now you'd reached a level of enjoying your head. Now, I'm preambling this text I'm going to read, and I'm going to explain to you, because we know as Adventists, Revelation 14, verse 9 to 11, then a third angel followed. And that angel we read in the morning is an angel that warns you against worshiping the beast and receiving the mark of the beast. And says if you do that, you're going to go to hell. I'm saying it in a nice way. Because here it's rough. You want me to read it for you? It's rough. It says, and you will drink of the wine of the wrath of God, which is poured out full strength into the cup of his indignation. You shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. And the smoke of their torment ascends forever and ever. They have no rest day or night who worship the beast and his image, and whosoever receives the mark of his name. I just say, you'll go to hell. That one is nice. That one is sanitized. But the Bible puts it as, you know why the Bible does this? And put it as raw as it is, so that no one goes there. You don't want to say, but nobody told me how ugly this thing is. It is ugly to exist away from the face of God. That is hell. It is ugly to be told you will never see this face again. When Abel was it Abel or Cain? When Cain was told that, he cried. He cried. And he says, I will never see your face again. He cried. Because we don't know what it means to see the face of Jesus. To see the face of... Do you know what heaven is described in the Bible? It says, they will see his face. And hell is a place where you will not see that face. It's ugly. And so our message then, as a church in the last days, is to warn people against worshiping the beast and receiving the mark. Now, as I said to our class yesterday, sometimes we get confused. This warning is very serious, but sometimes we get so confused as to say, let's look for the mark of the beast. What's the mark of the beast? The vaccine. Hey, don't take the vaccine because that could be the mark of the beast. Hey, that credit card with the barcode. That's the mark of the beast. Now it's the devil who's telling us that. We're making this thing a joke. It's like it's a joke. Can I say this to you? This text basically says, when people reject the gospel, they'll be lost. That's what it says. If you worship the beast, you are rejecting the gospel. It has nothing to do with the vaccine. It has nothing to do with credit cards. It has to do with you rejecting the gospel. So the mark of the beast is a false gospel. Amen? Now I'm going to quickly run through that so that you can start reading